G'day, legends. Welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared. And yeah, international break. Going to be a solo pod tonight because everyone's got other commitments still, but that's all good. No issue. So tonight you'll just have to tolerate me waffling more than Shane does on a Monday. So yeah, hope you enjoy the show. We're going to be talking about just a few topics. We want to talk about the next step for the Celtic fan collective. I want to talk about the Rangers manager search, Neil Lennon's comments about the current board situation, David Martindale, obviously, preview the game coming up against Dundee, and just any comments that you want to throw in as we go. Let's make it as interactive as possible. So, yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and yeah, we'll crack on straight into it. So, I have no idea how long this pod's going to go tonight. So, could be over in 10 minutes, could be 45. Who knows? But yeah. So Celtic Fan Collective, just to refresh, obviously I'll bring up the talking points that they raised to start with way back. I'm just getting that one up on the screen now. So the Celtic Fan Collective asked, what is the club's long-term footballing strategy? How will this be communicated? Why has there been no investment in critical positions despite repeated pleas from the manager? What accountability measures are in place for repeated failures in transfer dealings? How do you intend to modernise the club's structure to compete in Europe? When will supporters receive the results of the fan survey? That's only one of these six that they've done. Or sorry, seven that they've done. Why can't why have the results of the fairest inquiry not been made public? Sorry, that's the one they've done, not the fan survey. And why does the club continue to resist working with supporters to improve matchday atmosphere? Now, as we all know, after just before the international break happened, after our last game, there was a meeting between the Celtic Fan Collective and yeah, so you had the Celtic Fan Collective, you had members of the club actually reached out to different individual groups like the Green Brigade, Irish supporters, CSC, um, Association of Supporters Clubs, the boys, and so on. Right, they didn't go to the collective, so they ended up getting a meeting with them. Those guys gave up a spot each, so I appreciate each and every one of them for doing that. And yeah, we got stuck into. They got in there and it was a whole lot of nothing, basically. They come in with questions, appreciate the work, everyone's working a full time job, then they're volunteering their time, going to a meeting with the club, sitting there, and nothing happens. Realistically, the old Michael Nicholson shrug, yeah, pretty much sums up the meeting. Bit of a joke, really. The info I'm getting is that the guys in the room, some of them were shocked by how little the club thinks of the fan collective and the supporters in general, and they think that and how much of a disconnect there is. The fact that they actually think they're doing a good job, and to me, absolutely piss poor. Yeah, it's not good enough, and yeah, the way I'm looking at it is we need change, obviously, and everyone knows it. We need change. All the fans know it. You may think there's one thing doing well, like we're beating Rangers, we're winning titles, great. Yeah, that is great. But at the same time, what what's the marker for Celtic? Is it looking through as I grew up watching through the nineties, Rangers were financially doped. And for us, stopping them going for the 10 was the target. So being better than than Rangers in the nineties was the important thing. Then Martin O'Neill comes in. Then we show what we can go and do in Europe. And then we plateaued ever since then. We're still paying similar wages. We're still playing, we're still paying wages. We're still not really wanting to spend more than 3-4 million pound on a player for the most part. What now is a 8 or 9 million pound player now is what you would have got 20 years ago for, you know, 2.5, 3 million. So there's been no evolution with the market. And then when we have stumped up cash on players, Barkas, Ayeti, Ida, even Engels, we spent big on all of them, and I still think there's a player there in Engels, but the rest of them didn't do great. So you look at the board there, and they're probably thinking, why should we change how we're doing and spend more? But at the end of the day, things change is needed. And for me, the fan collective is the way to do it. We can't sack the board. Why? Because the board are the shareholders, the majority of them. So you can't sack the owners of the club. So we're in that vicious cycle there where we've kind of got to find other ways to make a point and challenge the narrative that they're doing a good job. And we'll get into Neil Lennon's comments about that in a moment because, yeah, that bloke's an absolute. That's why the episode's called Shower Gel, by the way, because he's probably just hanging in there with these comments, trying to be appointed in the shower again when Rogers leaves. So, yeah, it's just a bit of a weird situation. The media doesn't cover half of it, but it's good to see people like Jim Orr getting on the BBC and telling them what's going on, and the guys from the collective are getting on out amongst all the other podcasts, spreading the message, talking about it. So it's great to see that there's this unity and collectivism between. There's so many Celtic podcasts out there. There's so many Celtic blogs out there. There's so much, different ways of fan media, YouTube channels or whatever. So it's yeah, a bit of a. It's great to see that we're all pulling in the same direction. But yeah, I just think it's a crap situation that we're in. But what do we think needs to happen from here in terms of the collective? I'd love to know that. Let us know in the comments. What's the next step for you guys? For me, I'm not a fan of silent protests, and there was some pushback on that. And I said that last time. I did love the walk in, not walk out that we did at Killy, I think it was. That draws attention to it. I think we're having a look at the banners coming up. Great. Making things that they can't ignore. But I think we need to figure out what's the plan going to be going forward. And there's a meeting of the collective tomorrow that I'm aware of, or tonight. Yeah, it's Thursday, so it's tonight. It's tomorrow for us. So yeah, it's going to be one of those ones where it'll be interesting to see what the plans are going forward, and if they can come up, in my opinion, come up with a plan of this is what we want to do to fix this issue, target this issue. If there's 3 or 4 issues they're going to work on, let's figure out how we want to roll that all out and how we want to target each of them, and make a point on them all. Something has to happen. We have to keep working on this because too much work's going into it. It's early days. It may be a long battle to sort this out, but we've got to be up for it because just having 1 point ahead of Rangers and winning the Scottish League is not enough for this club. The majority of us fans want to see us progress in Europe. You have a look at a club like Bodo Glimt spending 90 million less than us in the last 3 years, and look at what they're doing in Europe. And then you have a look at clubs like Club Brugge and your Red Bull Salzburgs and your Feyenoords and your Portos and all these that have smaller wage bills than us and are big teams in a small league. Why are they doing well in Europe but we're not? That's the target. The goal for me is we have to improve in Europe as a club. And to get there, we need change in our recruitment structure. We need fresh ideas in the board. Above all else, we also need to look at the stadium. As we spoke about previously, it needs a bit of a spruce up as well. So there's a good episode that was done by the boys from Celtic World Order and Axom, combined one about the stadium. Check that out if you haven't seen it. It's pretty confronting, especially for someone like me on the other side of the world who doesn't get to see Celtic Park every day. So, yeah, there's plenty that needs to be done. Let's hope there's some change coming up and, yeah, stick at it. So, I'll bring up some comments here. Where's this comment gone? G'day, Bonnie. Hail, hail, Slabbering Cabbage. Gavy boys all over it. Just here with the Nicholson shrug. Slabbering Carriage is saying Gerard says no. Roll says Bolt next. Yeah, and we'll get into that in a moment. Plunge is morning or is it evening? Where are you, bud? I don't know if you're talking to us or the guys in the comments, but yeah, evening over here, morning over there. Happy days. And Bonnie saying players need to start having a go as well. Too much passing back. Take your man on. Please, please let that happen. Getting up to watch games at 2 in the morning when you got like watch the game, go to bed, 3 hours sleep, get up, go to work. To get up and just watch the ball be passed backwards, monotonous, it puts you to sleep. It's a nightmare. What I would do for Ange Ball 2.0, get someone in that's going to be front foot, aggressive football. Yeah, I agree with you a heap, Bonnie. And Gavi Boy is saying the dilutable boxes must be piled high in the Celtic boardroom. Either that or there's a gas leak. I don't even know if it's a gas leak, Gav. Honestly, Gavi Boy, like I'm looking at it going, is it a gas leak? Mhm. Or is it just that we've got some senile old codgers on the board? Probably smell like Old Spice and, have cobwebs in their jacket pockets. There you go. Went there. So, yeah, we'll go down quickly to the Rangers manager search. So, yeah, as was said in the comments, Gerard said no. Roll says Bolt next. And apparently the next man up is Kevin Muscat, former manager of my local team down here in the A-League, Melbourne Victory, who was mentored by Ange Postecoglou. He's won 5 titles in 3 countries, 2 in Australia, I think it was, 2 in Australia, 1 in Japan, or 2 in Japan and 1 in China that I'm aware of. So, yeah, he's done pretty well for himself as a manager. Bit of a grub as a player, but he's reinvented himself really well as a manager. And the only manager I've seen linked to them that I actually hope like hell does not happen, because Kevin Muscat's the sort of guy that will go in there and he's a culture shifter. He will be like, get in there. He'll do his little thing that he does when he talks, impresses every third or fourth word. He hesitates and does his little squeaky thing with his mouth while breathing in. It drives you insane listening to it sometimes, especially if you're in the audio podcast. You got the thing in your ear and you just hear that constantly. But bloody good coach, knows how to structure his team defensively, likes to play attacking football on the front foot, and he's the sort that could actually sort out their mess. And the way some people think we lucked into Ange, that's what that appointment would be for the Huns. Now, will it happen? According to people who know Kev over here and everything, and I don't think with he's that close to the end of his season. I think his season ends in China in November. So if he's in a title race over in China and he could potentially win another league title, why would he give that up this close to being at the end of it to go to the Huns? So realistically, they probably put an interim in if they wanted Kev, and once he gets to November, December, bring him in then and get him in the rest of the season. That's probably what they would do if Kev Muscat is the guy they want. But Kev's going to have to take a massive pay cut too because he's working within the City Group and all that sort of situation. I don't want him at the Huns. At the same time, yeah, I don't really care who they get because they're still in our shadows and they're absolute idiots, a scummy club. So, and the reason I talk about it is because Scottish football, it's when they're your biggest rivals, you kind of got to talk about it because you can have a bit of a chuckle. Here we go. Your girl Bonnie is saying Paul Gascoigne was saying on TalkSport that he can't watch current football because the goalie is having more touches than the striker. Sums it up. Yeah, it's strange when Gascoigne actually talks sense, isn't it? And Andrew Galea saying, is Muscat going to get the Rangers gig, you reckon? If they're smart, they'll appoint him. But, will that be? But they'll want him in as soon as possible. I don't see him leaving. I don't see him leaving just yet. Heavy Vibes is saying, hail, time's up for this board. Bonnie's saying he's a tough cookie, Big Kev. Yep. And Robert Gibson is saying Muscat is a ball bag. Smell the Glove is saying Total Thug as a player suits the horrible club. The Banners, been a while. Legend. And Gavi Boy is saying, good thing about Dens Park, they won't get time to settle in to the slow turgid game. Geez, I won't be losing sleep over Muscat. Yep. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But Okay, before we get into the Neil Lennon comments, I want to just jump onto something else as well because there was another one that I saw, David Martindale. We're talking about fan media as part of, the fan collective and all that sort of stuff. And David Martindale says he's sick of YouTubers and podcasters telling managers where they're going wrong. We're allowed to have an opinion, dickhead, just like you thought you were allowed to sell bags of cocaine back in the day. So, yeah, the way I look at it is we'll say our piece, doesn't mean we're right. That's why we're not getting paid the big bucks to be a manager. If you can't handle someone giving an opinion, it's different to what you think as a manager. It shows the soft underbelly that you've got as a gaffer. So, yeah, I think he's a bit of an absolute dickhead where he said podcasters are being too negative and telling managers what to do. Yeah, so he's Martindale's quote, I'm just trying to find it here. The narrative is all wrong. They need to be much, much more positive in terms of bloody ads popping up here. Far out. They need to be much more positive in terms of our product. Yeah, so anyway, he's just being an absolute dick. I could get the proper quote, but my phone's just on the fritz now, so not ideal. But anyway, um, yeah. So we'll worry about that. He can shove it. The guy's an idiot. But yeah, next one is Neil Lennon's comments about the current board situation at Celtic. The banners is saying Martindale is right. Reason why he's Livingston manager and a Jackie dealer. Yep. And heavy vibes. So what has Lennon said now? So I'll just read you the article. First of all, it was in the Sun. Okay. I've had this sent to me, in one of the WhatsApp groups I'm in. So luckily I didn't have to go into that red rag. But anyway, what he said is I'll just read the article quickly. Former Celtic manager Neil Lennon has defended Dermot Desmond and Peter Lawwell. Lennon, who managed the club across two spells, responded to criticism of majority shareholder Desmond and non-executive chairman Lawwell. He said, I think it's unnecessary. I don't agree with it. Dermot is a genius for me, not just from a sporting point of view, but an intellectual point of view. Lennon highlighted Desmond's success and forward thinking, praising the support for Irish sportsmen. He's very successful, hugely successful, probably the most successful man I've come across in terms of what he's earned and generated and built in his career. He's very forward thinking, always looking to the future. And despite admitting to disagreements with Lawwell, Lennon praised his business acumen. Peter is not only a great administrator, but very astute. I fell out with him at loads of times, as you would do over deals and contracts or whatever, but everything he did was for the betterment of Celtic Football Club. Every deal, every decision, the club always came first. And then he talks about the pair saying, I think they brought great success for the club. They fought many battles for the club, blah, blah, blah. Now, my opinion on this is pretty simple. Neil Lennon, the player, still have respect for that and what he did for the club. The Neil Lennon, the manager, should never have been appointed in the first place. The only reason he got the job was because he was cheap as chips, right? So, and he had a squad there that he was able to do things with. So, before Rangers died, he choked a chance of winning a title. If he had won that, then we would have won 10 because that would have been the one extra we needed. Everyone thinks of his second stint and losing the 10 at that end, but he also skipped it at the first end. Then the fact of the matter is, going through everything that he went through, the amount of times he threatened to leave as a player and that over contract stuff and everything, and as a manager, bit of a joke. But then you get to the point where him coming back and that second stint, and he was appointed in the showers at Hampden. Should have done his job, finished that season, and been see you later, done. If he did that, I would still have him in the highest respect for the guy, right? But the way he did things in that second stint, especially in the 10 in a row season where we absolutely choked, the fact that you come out and you call fans, he had a crack at fans saying this new breed and that we're entitled and all this sort of stuff, right? Having a crack at us because we actually give a shit about our club. The way I look at it is like every word comes out of his mouth. He's just a board apologist. So, yeah, and it's Smell the Glove saying Lennon is the board apologist and go ram himself. And then the banner's got a good point here saying, did you read the full article? Lennon's open admission that there were fights about transfers in there. So it's not just a Rogers problem. It's not just a Rogers problem because Rogers had it both stints. Lenny had the issues. Ange had the issues. Brendan's had the issues the second time around. Lennon had the issues in the 10 in a row season. He didn't get the players he wanted in, did he? So I think the last one was Ronnie Dahlia was lucky to be in the job. He was brought into the club to be an assistant, not be the manager. So Ronnie's probably the only one that hasn't had the balls to go head to head with the board over transfers. But yeah, it's an ongoing issue. But back to Lennon, the guy just says this stuff because he wants to stay on the right side of these people because he probably still thinks in his heart of hearts that he's still a chance for a third stint. Let's be honest. He doesn't think he did anything wrong in the 10 in a row season his last year at the club. He's openly admitted that. So him doing this is kissing ass, trying to get, be positioning himself so that if, Rogers was to leave at the end of the season, who are you going to call? Neil Lennon. That's what they're after. And yes, I did a Ghostbusters thing there for a laugh, but yeah, that's pretty much what he's doing. Guy's an absolute joke. So Robert Gibson saying they keep giving Lennon the manager's job. No wonder he's giving those two a reach around. Yeah, exactly. Heavy Vibes are saying lick spittle Lennon looking to replace Rogers. Play a good manager bad. Correct. That's exactly how I see it. So, yeah, the whole situation that we've got there with the Neil Lennon thing is he needs to shut up, know his place, and focus on the job he's doing as a manager. Where is he again at Dunfermline or something like that? I don't even know. He says to focus on that job and not worry about us. Peter Lawwell needs to go. Dermot Desmond won't go unless someone can come up with hundreds of millions of pounds to buy him out. But there's other ways to improve the club. So anyway, that's my take, my rant on it. So yeah, and we'll start to wrap the pod up. I know it's only a quick one, but I'm on my own. I'm not Shane. I couldn't talk to a wall for 45 minutes. Have to say it, Shane. I'm trying to wind you up so when he listens, he'll send me a message on the WhatsApp going, wait, I don't talk that much. So that's what I'm trying to wind him up with. So on Sunday, we're playing Dundee at Dens Park. I don't know how to feel heading into the game because the way I look at it is like Dundee's in 11th. They had 1 win, 4 losses, 3 draws, 6 goals for, 13 against, right? So they're not doing that well. But then, yeah, I just look at it and go, we've been like win, draw, win, draw, win. So I know for the international break, it's always hard to tell what sort of shape players are going to come back in. Like apparently Alistair Johnson's back training on grass again, which is a good thing. But then we've got a few players coming back with a few knocks. So, yeah, heading into the game, it'll be interesting to see what we do, how we get out there and play. I just want us to get out there and actually play some aggressive football. Like, get out there and not be passive and not wait for the game to come to us. If we got the better players, so let's get out there. Let's take the game on, try and beat a man and get on with it and, try and get the first goal early. And then just put the pressure on Dundee. Then they've got to come out and play, and then we just keep going and keep going. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. I'll just bring up some comments here. Heavy Vibes are saying Dundee will park 2 buses and having trouble scoring. Yeah, of course they will. That's what I'm saying. Get on the front foot, press them. So that as soon as they get the ball, they got pressure on them. See if they shit themselves and cough the ball up. That's a way to try and beat that. Put a bit of pressure on them. Smell the Glove is what time we on Monday? Daylight savings. So we're on at 8 p.m. our time. I think we're 10 hours ahead at the moment. So 8 p.m. would be, I don't know, like 10 a.m. or something like that. Yeah, I think it's at 10 a.m. more than likely on Monday, unless you guys change. So anyway, but back to the game, like, yeah, I think it's going to be a game where we got to get out there, we got to play, we got to be the aggressor, and yeah, we'll just see how long it takes for their fans to get on their back. Because as McLaughlin's saying here, Dundee fans don't want Presley. My cousins are having a meltdown every weekend about him. And Andrew Gillespie saying if the manager has gotten over not getting his way, maybe he can show he's still a top manager and get the team playing. Robert Gibson, I knew that was your comment without even reading the name, mate. We've become Laxative FC 7 up shite this season. So it's funny about the pod. You've been doing it for what, 6 years, 7 years, something like that, and you can just tell from some comments who the commenter is now. It's funny, but yeah, for me, going into the game, I think it's gonna be a tough slog. The first goal is obviously critical, so yeah, we're gonna be looking at getting in and trying to get that first goal. If it gets to 60 minutes and we still haven't scored, then it becomes a bit of a edge of the seat. You know, can't sit comfortable in your seat sort of thing. But yeah, we've got to get a goal. If we can score in the first 20 minutes, I think we'll be fine. Um, I'm expecting it to be a bit of a tough slog. Then once we score, they'll still sit tight. Once the second goal goes in, it'll open up a bit for us, and then we could potentially go on and win it. So I'm thinking score prediction will win 4-0. My starting lineup will be Casper, probably KT, Scales, CCV, and on the right, I wouldn't go with AJ yet. I'd probably be looking at probably Donovan or Ralston. Middle of the park, it'll be Calmac. I want Calmac, Engels, and Hatade. Let's put those three back together and see what we get. And then up front, Mater on the right, Tanekti on the left, and then Big Cal's through the middle, Ihanacho through there. So that's what I'm thinking. The 4 goal scorers, Tanekti will score 1, Mater will score 1, Engels will score a penalty. Actually, won't. Ihanacho will take the penalty, so he'll score 2. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking for the game. What I'll do is I'll bring up some comments here. Yeah, then we'll wrap the pod up in a minute or two. So, Gav Boy is saying, I think they'll be fine on Sunday. Maybe it'll be different with Elvis. Dundee have to go and make it a chaos, hectic game, force us to be quicker. Good thing for me. Oh, I would love that. If they come out and play Gavy Boy, it'll be absolutely perfect, because if they do that and cause us to speed up and play, then we have to be the aggressor I'm talking about. And if I'm watching a game at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, the last thing I want to be doing is it's back, horseshoe, reverse it. Yeah, get up it. Okay, so the banners. See, this is the thing. I wasn't sure about who's going to be in there. So Mater and Toki both injured. So yeah, if that's the case, it's Yang and it is Balikwisha. There you go. There's your wingers. So it could be an interesting one. Heavy vibes. Is it time to drop Casper? If he has another howler, yeah. Honestly, I think he's on his last chance at the moment. If he keeps making some of the mistakes he's making, then it's time to, it's time to put Sinisalo in there and see what he can do in the league. Because let's be honest, Sinisalo long term is our number one keeper. I think Casper will be retiring at the end of this season. Shouldn't be getting an extension, and off we go. So yeah, not ideal. The banners are saying Rogers needs to come out with a big win. It's going to be like watching paint drying in the rain. Good assessment. Elvis Seven Skies parking the bus after the Aberdeen pumping. Lovely. Gavy boy, I was surprised AJ was doing ball work, so he maybe play. I wouldn't play him at Dens Park, to be honest with you, because I'd rather get him a bit extra time on the training pitch and start to work him back in. I wouldn't start him, but maybe bring him on for the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just to get a run into his legs. So it'll be interesting. Andrew Galea, Rogers will never drop Casper. just like he won't budge from a 4-3-3, and just like he won't rest Calmac either. So Robert Gibbs is saying, I'm going out on the limb saying a turgid 0-0 draw. Lovely. So yeah, we'll see how it goes on the weekend. Appreciate it. And yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in. Like the video, share it, and yeah, see you on Monday for the pot noodle. So until then, hail, hail. Quick final thought. 3 years ago, I lost my mother on this day. So, Mum, miss you every day. Appreciate you. Thanks for passing on Celtic through your side of the family. So, hail, hail, everyone. And yeah, we'll see you next week.